Hello and welcome to Adventures in TV Land, another rambling review. And this rambling review is about Ant-Man and the Wasp Quntumania. Ant-Man and the Wasp Quntumania is part of the MCU, part of Phase 5. It takes place, we're not sure exactly, it's sometime after Endgame. I don't know, by this point in time, it's hard to tell. Maybe Peter Parker, and I don't know if he's been forgotten by the world by this point from Spider-Man No Way Home. I don't know if the Eternals thing happened and there's this giant stone giant. I don't know if any of that has happened. I'm assuming this is after the events TV show Loki season 1 because Kang is in here. Anyway, it is sometime after an Endgame. Scott Ant-Man, he is a hero. He's become a celebrity of sorts. He's successful. You know, he was a criminal beforehand. Now he's been reformed. He is a hero. He's written a book. It's a best-selling book about with Ant-Man being an Avenger and helping to save the world and defeating Thanos finally and all of that. And he's enjoying his life. His daughter Cassie, she is a teenager now, and she unfortunately is an activist. And while she seems to love her dad, she seems a bit disappointed in him because even though the guy saved the world and is a superhero, he's not doing his part anymore in her eyes. He's just making money off of being an Avenger. Now, in her spare time, she's been working with Hank Pym, and together they've developed this satellite, I guess you could call it, that's going to map the quantum realm. And when Hank's wife, she finds out about it, and she's like, no, I don't want to go into quantum, you can't do that, shut it off now. But it's too late. It set off some sort of beacon. It sucks them all in. They're all sucked into the quantum realm, and that's where they're at. They're in the quantum realm. There, Kang the Conqueror controls everything. I'll try not to give any spoilers away, but so that's where it goes. And then the rest of the movie is kind of Ant-Man and his family trying to get back together and then find a way out. There's been a lot of negative criticism about this film because about the effects. I will say some of the effects are really cheesy, are not too well done. And there are points where you can see that it was kind of rushed. There's some criticism, we'll talk about that in a moment, about with the story overall. However, at the same time, this movie is probably better than anything that came out of Marvel Phase 4. I know that's not saying a lot, but it's true. I mean, there really wasn't anything in Marvel Phase 4 that could compare to this. I mean, I guess technically Spider-Man No Way Home was in Phase 4, but that kind of stands on its own, in all honesty. It's kind of its own thing. Now we have Ant-Man. Good, well, in the sense, gives Ant-Man a chance to kind of try to shine a little bit, see a little bit more of his personality you don't always get to see. You didn't get to see in the other films. At the same time, with that said, in some ways he's made like a sidekick in his own movie, which is a little bit disappointing. Not totally. I mean, Hope with Wasp, she has a lesser role than even Ant-Man does in this film. So both of them, the two title characters, are really kind of almost pushed to the side. And it's kind of all these other secondary characters, just a bunch of things they've thrown in there. I mean, for the moments that Scott Lang does get to shine, those are well done. Script-wise, there's a lot of holes. There's a lot of, I don't know, the further Marvel goes along, the more and more plot holes in their films and based on the continuity continue to unravel. Even though I know now that they got the whole multiverse thing going on and everything like that, there's still, things don't quite add up with everything. There's been a lot of commentary in other places about, with Hank Pym, he makes this comment about ants and socialism in the film. I mean, that's in there as well. There are some messages there kind of not so subtly put into the film. Those things are there. If you like those things, yay for you. If you don't, just be wary of that. Personally, overall, while the film was somewhat enjoyable, I was a little bit disappointed by it in the sense that the film could have ended on a much more high note than it did, a much more almost menacing way, but it doesn't. It basically ends up the same place that it started, and not really much has changed for the most part. There are a few things that have changed, but not really. His daughter Cassie, I guess she does grow a little bit in the film, but you don't really get to see if she's grown enough, if she's outgrown kind of she didn't treat her father very well the first half of the movie, that's for sure. So you don't quite know if she's grown out of that or not. Scott, he's basically at the same place he was before. The world, for the most part, is at the same way it was before. There's hints in the after scene and even towards the end of the film that, there's this possible threat that's coming, but there's not much made about it at all. That's kind of disappointing because there was a point in the movie where the stakes were quite high, and if the film had ended there, and left a couple of the characters where they were. And it's like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? But they didn't do that. They took a very easy way out. And I don't know, I found that a little bit disappointing. So that is kind of the short of it. The Ant-Man and the Wasp Quntumania. If you like King, I mean, King, Conqueror King, Jonathan Majors, he does a great job. Actually, all the actors do a great job. Bill Murray has a cameo role in this film, in all honesty. I don't know what the point of it was, other than it's Bill Murray, so he gets a little scene in there. It's fun to see Bill Murray on film anytime. It really doesn't play much into the overall overarching plot of the story for the most part. Ant-Man and the Wasp Quntumania, it's kind of there. It sets things up King, so I guess if you want to stay, follow the movies to know what's kind of coming up and the King dynasty and all that's supposed to be upcoming in a few years, you definitely would want to see this because it does have King the Conqueror and sets things up in that way. But as a movie, overall movie, and even as a Marvel movie, it's a little bit of a letdown. So yeah, there you have it. Thank you for watching. Till next time, that's a wrap.